So who put that fake sign up? Turns out it was an employee named...
Out of the blue, this video just suddenly hits me. I'm not being paid. Basically, they gave me suspension without pay, and it's pending investigation. So,
well, guys, there's a first time for everything. I have somehow managed to go 804 videos without ever making a video solely dedicated to the man we're talking about today. Today, we change that. If you've spent any significant amount of time on the internet, and by significant amount of time, I really mean like if you've ever been on social media, there are a few names that I would be very surprised if you told me you had never heard of them. And on that short list of names is the man of our today, Logan Paul. Now, if you don't know who Logan Paul is, or if you do know who he is, but you don't really understand his cultural significance, I guess you could call it, and why most people on the internet are not the biggest fan of the guy, I don't really think I can explain that to you. There is genuinely over a decade worth of awful behavior, ranging from extremely immoral to extremely illegal, that has built this man up to almost a mythical status, where it's getting to the point that it's actually become impressive that this guy is still able to find new things to pull out of his hat to do and make people like him less. How does he do it? I'm not sure, but he's able to do it pretty efficiently because it seems like every other day at this point, he does something new to add on to the already very long list of why it is morally just to dislike Logan Paul. And recently, he added a pretty big one. Now, if you clicked on this video, I'm sure I don't need to tell you that recently Logan Paul was involved in the production of something called the Lunchly. If you don't know what the Lunchly is, then I don't even know how the fuck you ended up on this video, if I'm being completely honest. And don't take that as a bad thing. That's objectively a good thing. Save yourself from all this nonsense. Click that shiny red X on the top right of your screen right now. Don't go any further. It's not gonna do you any good. But for those of you who are still left, as you know, Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, and KSI came out with the banger product of the year and made a more expensive Lunchable that is in no way any better for you than a normal Lunchable, like they claimed, and you also have like a 75% chance that if you buy one, it's gonna be moldy. It's really a success. And Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI really want you to think that, because if you say it's not a success, they're not gonna take that too kindly. Now, we've already seen that happen with KSI and his little meltdown on Twitter with Dan TDM, but recently, Logan Paul did something that was so much more insane that it actually kind of makes me appreciate what KSI did. In response to seeing a sign posted in a grocery store that carried Lunchlys claiming that the Lunchlys had been recalled, Logan Paul decided the best course of action was to dox a grocery store employee who was literally just doing his job. Yeah, I know. Logan Paul's a fucking national hero. So what we're going to be watching today is Logan Paul's little meltdown that led to this, and then we're going to be watching a bit of the interview that Rosanna Pansino did with the guy who got doxxed. This is such an absurd situation, and it just baffles my mind that people are still out there supporting guys like this. But then I think about the events of like the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, that actually makes a lot of sense. But let's not waste any more time. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
All right, this is the best one yet. According to ex-users, various retail stores have recalled Lunchly products due to FDA's concerns. The sign in the tweet reads, due to public health concerns, the FDA has recalled Lunchly products. We will restock as soon as deemed fit for consumption and ship through our warehouses. But that's so weird because FDA recalls are public by law. And as you can see, Lunchly is not on the FDA recall list. So hold up, that means that this sign is fake. Somebody typed up and printed out a 100% lie about Lunchly being recalled, taped it to the fridge, then a picture of it was taken by someone else and posted on social media as if it were real. Community notes, where you at?
Okay, so here's where I lose like half of you guys by not just immediately coming out and saying something like, look at Logan Paul being upset on Twitter, we should publicly execute him. In a vacuum, it's perfectly okay to be upset about the fact that there is a false sign being spread claiming that your product has been recalled by the FDA. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, Logan Paul is out of his fucking mind for being upset about this, okay? I'm not gonna say that. This is a normal thing to be upset about. The problem is how he handles it as a grown man with the power he holds, with the platform he holds. What he does here is fucking insane. Being upset about this sign, however, is not.
Anyway, I had my forensics team look into it, and they were able to find the exact location where this allegedly took place by photo matching the tweet with the gray door handle and the sales labels. Then we cross-referenced it with the locations that we distribute to. It's a Fred Meyer, and I had someone go there. Boom, exact match. Same door handle, same tag, same products even, but hold on, where is the FDA recall sign? Also, we can see the sales data. After Lunchly was recalled, it wasn't, but after that sign was posted, we continued to sell out all of the Lunchlys that hit the shelves in that store. So who put that fake sign up? Turns out it was an employee named...
Okie dokie. So to be one of the biggest and most recognizable content creators on the internet with a famously toxic community, to have no problem revealing a person's identity and where they work to tens of millions of people on the internet, you've got to have something wrong with you. And the crazy part is that this would have been a fine video. This would have been a fine thing to do if he just didn't decide to dox a random fucking employee for no reason. Wanting to defend your product, even if it is the dog shit known as Lunchly, is fine. He could have proven that this sign was fake and that nothing was ever recalled without ever talking about who put up the sign. That was completely pointless, and it was 100% vindictive.
Who said this when we confronted him, and I quote, "That was like kind of rumorized, I guess, through around here, but we had seen a posting about that, but I was the one who had written that, but since we got Lunchly back, it's been taken down. When it comes down to the actual, like, I guess, accountability of it, it was a rumor that was up in the air. Since we had heard that the FDA whole thing was kaput, we took it down. Yeah, it was more of like yeah, it wasn't like a anyway. Hater or dumbass? I don't know, maybe both."
Ooh, actually hidden option number 3, Logan Paul. And it doesn't really surprise me that you missed this one since you haven't had to work an actual job in your entire life. He was actually just told to put up the sign by his boss. For Logan Paul to think that every random person cares about Logan Paul this much is actually really on brand and doesn't surprise me. The guy's not a hater or a dumbass. He was just doing his job. No stores were reordering your dog shit products, which led people to think that there was a recall since there were a lot in October, and once they realized that Lunchlys weren't part of the recall list, they took down the sign, which I mean is evidenced by the fact that you said yourself, Logan, when your guy got there was no sign. Nobody's out to get you here, buddy. It was a misunderstanding at a local grocery store that you took very, very personally because you know your product's not performing well.
Oh, and I also saw this video.
As of right now, it is believed that all of the Lunchlys are being discontinued in various stores.
Yeah, that's also not true. Turkey Stack'ems are not discontinued. Stores are selling them as we speak, and they're also still on Kroger's website, which would be crazy for an item that's discontinued. Hey, and look, I know some people are driving up to 130 miles just to find Lunchlys, but please be patient as we try to ramp up production to meet the demand.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to believe that this is just a production issue when every single store around me has 0 Lunchlys, and all the stores around me were getting rid of them for like half price. If they were really in such high demand and they were just flying off the shelves, you guys can't even keep up with production. Why were my local stores selling them for $2 trying to get rid of them? And why have they not had any of them back since? Not just the turkey ones, all of them have disappeared now. And that seems to be the case literally everywhere. Everyone on social media is saying that they do not exist in their local stores anymore. Do you guys have the production issue of just not producing any of them anymore? Because if it was really just a production issue, it wouldn't make sense for there not to be a single Lunchly for sale anywhere in the country. And that's what appears to be going on. But after this, he just goes on to blame everybody but his shitty product for not performing well, saying that the ops need to try harder when stores aren't even carrying these dog shit Lunchables anymore. Not sure they really need to try harder. I think they've accomplished their goals if this is the work of the ops. But now we're going to take a look at this Rosanna Pansino interview. We're not going to be watching the entire thing, but this guy helps clear up some of the falsehoods that Logan Paul was spreading, which is ironic because it seems like Logan Paul is really against that in the video we just watched. Who would have thunk that Logan Paul might not be the most morally consistent guy out there? Not me.
Are you able, can you walk us through what happened?
Yeah, so around the beginning of October, there was a listeria outbreak at a major chicken distributor. And so over the course of the beginning of October, there was numerous recalls issued for a bunch of different brands due to contaminated chicken. And I was the one that was put in charge of overseeing pulling the recalled items from the shelves and posting signs. I had finished a bunch of different products on the aisles near the Lunchley section. And as I was passing by, I noticed that it was completely empty and that there was some "this item is temporarily out of stock" stickers.
So believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, it does not seem like this guy was going out of his way to try and bring down Lunchley and Logan Paul. Seems like he was just doing his job and noticed a pattern and was trying to be a proactive, good employee. My God, this guy's a fucking criminal.
So I was curious because I had noticed that had been out for a while, and I walked up to my boss and asked, should I post a sign, do you think? And he's like, well, it's going to take me a sec because I'm super busy. I'm going to have to look for the sign, but I do believe that it was on the recall list. So you can go ahead and do that, and I will I will find the actual recall notice and put it up. And if it's not been, I'll pull it down. And we were like, yeah, great. And, within a few days, we had been shipped new Lunchly products, so they had been stacked up, and we pulled the sign down. Actually, I didn't even pull the sign down. Somebody else did. I came to work and saw it had been pulled down and they had been stocked. So I was like, oh, great, cool, more product to sell. Great.
Wait, what? No, Logan Paul told me this guy was a hater and a dumbass. He just said it was great he got to sell more Lunchlies? Wait a minute. Could it be possible Logan Paul didn't actually think to look into anything he was actually saying and just decided to believe that everybody in the world is against him? And then instead, maybe this random guy who works at a grocery store was just trying to do his job and not bring down Logan Paul as we know him? Wait, no, that can't be right. Logan Paul would never lie to me.
Out of the blue, I heard that somebody had taken a photo of this and posted it online, and I found this out by a Lunchly's representative that came into my work at like 9 at night, asking me a bunch of really odd questions, and it was starting to get a little borderline harassing because I was in the back room and he followed me into the back room to ask me if I had known about numerous different people, asked me a bunch of questions regarding Lunchly, and then I brought him over to the Lunchly section per his request, and I was like, see, it actually still has some on the shelf here, and as you can see, there is a which is funny because the photos that they sent showed that it was out of stock, even though there was one in stock when they were there. But in any case, there was no sign there. The sign had been pulled down, as I had told him. It had been pulled down within a few days. And that overall it was a mistake that I made in the process of recalls. However, it was an approved mistake through my manager.
So not that we really needed anything to do this, but I feel like this whole thing really speaks to the moral compass and the intentions of Logan Paul. He had a representative go out, find out what actually happened. They learned it was a mistake that was pretty quickly corrected. And what did he do once he learned that? He made that video and posted it to millions of people. That Reddit post that Logan Paul made such a big deal about, where a person posted a picture of the sign, had 1,000 upvotes on Reddit. Like, I would wager that that post had zero actual effect on any future potential customers of Lunchly, and yet even after clearing all of this up, Logan Paul still decided to dox a guy, publicly ridicule him, and do even more damage to the Lunchly brand. What a fucking genius.
What were the repercussions that happened to you after the Lunchly rep left?
Out of the blue, this video just suddenly hits me, and I show up to it had been seen by everybody at work, so everybody already knew what was up, and everybody was acting like somebody had died around me, which I was like, guys, it's just some jerk on the internet. And like, basically they all kind of tiptoed around me, and then I got called into HR. Or rather, I had insisted talking to HR about it because I wanted to know if I was okay to work. And then she told me to return. I got called in. And then when it came to the conversation, they were very warm about it. They're like, look, we kind of have to suspend you just because we don't know what else to do. This has never happened in the entirety of the company's history. And we're trying to, mitigate your suffering when it comes to the community, because there are people who have seen this and will recognize you. Even though I'd like shaved my beard, and even though I was wearing a beanie pretty low over my face and everything.
So in Logan Paul's childlike fit of rage, after he decided to be a corporate entity and do big boy corporate stuff, couldn't help but take things personally and has temporarily ruined a guy's life. He's been suspended from his job. He feels like he needs to change identifiable characteristics about himself for safety. People around him don't feel comfortable talking to him. Logan Paul, you're a stand-up dude. He goes on to talk about how right now he's being suspended without pay. Once they investigate it, if he does get to go back to work, he'll get back pay. However, he says there is a controversy at that grocery store already, so that might make his chances worse. So this guy might end up completely losing his job and not being able to support his family as well as he could previously, because Logan Paul is a fucking man-child. He makes it very clear that the reason this is happening is not because he made the mistake of putting the sign up and the rep came in. It's abundantly clear that the reason all of this is happening is because Logan Paul decided to make this video and turn this into a big thing. Like, it takes a special special kind of loser to do something like this. You have some representative go bully this guy, he owns up to it. You get everything figured out, the damage done to your brand is minimal. Nothing more than has already been done by all the discourse on your horrible product on the internet already. And even after everything's been resolved, you make this video publicly outing a guy for doing nothing but his job. I mean, this guy is not even the one who posted this picture onto the internet. He was literally just doing his job. And Logan Paul has a fucking meltdown. How people still support this loser, I will never understand. Well, guys, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this? I think it's awesome of Rosanna to do this. Give someone who would otherwise have absolutely no platform whatsoever to give their side of the story. Arguably one of the biggest platforms on this topic. And I think taking that into consideration really speaks on Logan Paul's intentions. So many large creators on the internet have said basically the same thing this guy said, just not in sign form. And you don't see Logan Paul doing a deep dive on any of those people who can immediately retort in front of the same audience. He goes against a random person who had no dog in this fight and did not even say anything about this on the internet. I know I keep saying this, but there's really no other way to describe this kind of behavior. This guy's a fucking loser. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Bye.